this morning in the land of Judah, in the village of Anatot, the home of a young man by the name of Jeremiah. God has called this young man somewhere between the ages of 18 and 20. And he has called him to be a prophet and to prophesy to Israel at a difficult point in time when God's people have turned their back on God. After informing Jeremiah, after God has informed him that Jeremiah, you were born at this time, destined to do the tasks that I have assigned to you. And in so doing, God assures Jeremiah that he will have God's presence with him throughout his life. Now God has asked no less than you and I. He has called us to this place at this time because there is an assigned task for each one of us. And when God assigns us to a task, he makes an assurance that he's going to walk with us in lockstep. Now Jeremiah goes forth, and God tells him to gird up his lines and arise, speak to all which I command you. Do not be dismayed before them, lest I will dismay you before them. Now behold, I made you today as a fortified city, as a pillar of iron, as a wall of bronze against the whole land. To the kings of Judah, to the princes, to the priests, and to the people of the land. And they will fight against you, but they will not overcome you. For I am with you to deliver you, declares the Lord. Jeremiah goes forth with that promise from God, that God has built a fence around him. And as he goes about his work, he starts in his hometown of Anatot. And he's preaching and prophesying before the people whom he has grown up with and around. People that he knows from sight, people he knows from interaction, and people who are in his family. Sadly, as he goes forward, he gets a bit frustrated. He gets upset in that he is teaching, he is preaching, he's trying to keep his people from sin. But the more he works at this thing, the more they seem to go in a different direction. And Jeremiah then begins to feel something on the inside. What's the matter with me? Now, even in chapter 12, verse 6, God has to tell him, even your own brothers and your father are against you. And don't even get caught up in the nice things they say about you. Now just imagine you and I are called to serve God. We are called into Christianity, which is Christ-like. We are working to lead souls to the Master. We are working that we can be an encouragement to one another. We are working to be Christians, that we are not selfish, and we are willing to give up self for the other person. And in so doing, the other person becomes completely indifferent. And rather than accepting all of the goodness we bring forward, they push against us. They go in a different direction. It is sometimes difficult for Christians in our work. We get frustrated because people fight us. Now, allow me to ask us to think about the time in our life before we became holy. We didn't want anybody preaching to us. We rejected folk who told us about the Lord and about our behavior. We, matter of fact, said to folk point blank, don't be preaching to me. So when you encounter people who are living in sin, or you encounter Christians who are sinful, and we try to pull them back to the Lord's side, expect that these people are going to fight against us. They are going to do their best to maintain their lifestyle. Recall Jesus in the book of Matthew say that a prophet is without honor except in his hometown and his own household. Jeremiah is in his hometown. He's amongst his own folk. He's with the people that he knows. And as he grows in his discouragement, as he becomes to the point that he's getting a bit fed up, because, quote, he is not winning in his mind. But the other folk seem to be doing their thing. And he starts talking back to God. And he gets on this why and how long. Now you and I probably have been there. And he raises questions. You will look in the beginning part of chapter 12. Why has the way of the wicked prospered? Now, Lord, you know I'm working hard at this thing. But the folk who are sinning, they're doing better than me. The wise. And in the Christian walk, when we start to ask the wise, it is a moment of frustration. Because in the Christian walk, we are in it for the long term. And the wise are not answered in the short term. And he goes on. Why are all those who deal in treachery at ease? Look at these sinners. They are low down and they are smiling and laughing and having a good time, and I'm catching hell. Now, I was hoping you would reason with me. I was at least thinking that you might remember when. How long is the lamb to mourn? How long? Why? How long? Why? I'm frustrated, and I'm trying to work with these sinners, and God, you letting them have a good time. And God listens carefully to Jeremiah, and then he comes back with the rebuke. And he says to Jeremiah, if you have run with the footmen, and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou compete with horses? Now, listen to what God is really saying. God does not chide his people for their weakness. We see in the Old Testament where he chastised his people. We see in the New Testament where Jesus will always chastise because of a lack of faith or because of slowness to believe. But we do not see where he taunts his people for any reason on any occasion. Now, maybe Jeremiah has the right and the opportunity to question God that he might understand what's going on. But everything that he is asking, God has already promised.